Are you seeking guidance to enhance your TRIO project's effectiveness and success? Look no further. Nosotros Education Center, NEC, is here to empower your TRIO project with expert consulting services. NEC's mission is to promote the effectiveness and impact of TRIO programs. Since 2003, NEC has specialized in providing professional development and in-service staff trainings, allowable cost services, for TRIO projects across the country. The team at NEC, with over 60 years of combined TRIO experience, offers customized workshops and seminars for project staff, compliance assessments, external evaluations, working on and submitting APRs, database customization and training, development of policies and procedures manuals, and project implementation or reorganization services. Additionally, NEC has secured over $774 million in federal funding with a 92% success rate through their live and on-demand proposal workshops, assistance with data collection and review, detailed technical reviews, and comprehensive proposal development services. Join the hundreds of colleges, agencies, and TRIO projects across the country who benefited from NEC's expertise. Nosotros Education Center, your partner in TRIO's project success. Visit their website at nosotros.edu.org. Again, that's nosotros.edu.org.
This podcast episode is brought to you by Lonsdale Publishing. Is your program seeking ways to assess your students' college readiness? Does your program need a tool to document the effectiveness of your program? Lonsdale Publishing is excited to offer the Strategic Learning Assessment, a 20-minute online assessment that provides recommendations and strategies to improve academic performance across 11 learning areas: communication, critical thinking, effective learning strategies, focus and concentration, growth mindset, persistence, seeking help, sense of belonging, stress management, test preparation, and time management. For as little as $3 per student, the Strategic Learning Assessment identifies strengths and areas for growth, along with tailored recommendations for each learning area. Want a complimentary sample account for yourself and 5 students? Contact Lonsdale Publishing at 727-389-8026. Again, that number is 727-389-8026. Or visit our website for more information at www.lonsdale.com. That website again is www.lonsdale.com. Lonsdale Publishing, your partner in student success. You are listening to Let's Talk TRIO on podcasts. Keep up with the latest episodes by downloading the Podbean app or stream episodes via our social media accounts. Search for Let's Talk TRIO on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. This episode is sponsored by Student Access. Student Access, the leader in TRIO software. Student Access is an online database solution that allows TRIO programs to track their students' information, connect with students by text messages, streamline the APR, and work from anywhere, all online, with automatic updates for changes from the Department of Education. Their technical support team includes former TRIO staff and has over 50 years of combined experience working with TRIO. Make it easier to focus on your priority, the students. For more information and to request a free demo, visit their website at www.studentaccess.com or call them toll-free at 1-800-801-1232. That website again is www.studentaccess.com or 1-800-801-1232. Be sure to share your favorite episodes on your social media by tapping that share button. This is a great way to support the podcast. Now here's your host, Juan Rivas.
Thank you, Amelia, for that wonderful introduction. Hello, listener, and welcome to this special episode of Let's Talk Trio. This is Season 7, Episode 22. I am your host, Juan Rivas. Before we begin, some community announcements. Trio Nation, be sure to call your congressional representatives to defend the TRIO programs. The Trump administration is seeking to eliminate the TRIO programs in their most recent proposed budget. Take action now by spreading the word and contacting your congressional representatives. The link to find your congressional representative can be found on the podcast description. North Carolina Central University is hosting their annual Student Access and Success Conference in 2026. Click the link located on the episode description to learn more. In today's episode, we have the staff from the JCYC TRIO programs, Emalyn Lapus and Daphnis Schmidt. Emalyn and Daphnis are on the podcast to provide updates and tips on TRIO advocacy. Coming up in just a bit, Emalyn and Daphnis from the TRIO programs at JCYC. A heartfelt thanks to our individual supporters, Angelica Villalpando, Rosario Riley, Dr. Ryan Barone, Dr. Jamie Motley, Dr. Jeff Nepute, Angelica Valdez, Felicia Rivera, Eric Lamaster, Jeff Calden, and Jaded Electronics. Thank you to our corporate sponsors, TrioJoblist.com, Nosotros Education Center, Longsdale Publishing, Student Access, and TheTrioStore.com, powered by Proforma. Visit www.thetriostore.com, your source for TRIO graduation stoles. Thank you all so much for your continued support of this podcast. You too can be a sponsor of the podcast. Head on over to Patreon and search for Let's Talk Trio. Choose one of 4 patron levels. You can support this podcast for as little as $1 a month. If you own a business that serves the TRIO community and want to sponsor the podcast, we have different sponsorship packages available. Contact us for details. Become a supporter with a one-time donation to the podcast business PayPal account. Our business handle is @Let'sTalkTrio. Your support helps lift TRIO voices. If you would like to nominate a participant, staff, or alumni to be on the podcast, send us an email at letstalktrio@gmail.com. That email again is letstalktrio@gmail.com. Again, a great episode featuring the staff from the JCYC TRIO programs, Emalyn Lapus and Daphnis Schmidt. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode. Hi, TRIO Nation. We are bringing you a special collaboration episode with the TRIO staff at JCYC who are here to discuss the importance and impact of TRIO programs. As we are all aware, the current presidential administration is aiming to eliminate TRIO programs from the federal budget. Fortunately, resistance through advocacy has given the TRIO programs the much-needed support to continue their operations. Unfortunately, we have seen several TRIO programs get canceled due to not meeting the current administration's guidelines. Here to talk more about the impact of TRIO are my guests, Daphnis Schmidt and Emalyn Lapus, TRIO staff at JCYC. Hey, you two, welcome to the pod.
Hello, welcome. Thank you for having us. This is a great opportunity and good timing.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you for sitting down with me to discuss the current issues facing TRIO. Can you introduce yourselves to the audience? That also includes your titles and any other pertinent information you feel the audience should know.
Hi, my name is Daphnis Schmidt, he, him pronouns. I am a middle school educational talent search advisor at Francisco Middle School in Chinatown, North Beach area of San Francisco.
And hello, everyone, on Let's Talk Trio. My name is Emalyn Lapus. I'm the administrative director for the nonprofit agency JCYC, which hosts the TRIO programs in San Francisco and Daly City.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. Before we jump into this very important conversation, Can you talk about your TRIO programs at JCYC? Which programs do you host?
I can definitely answer that, Juan. So first of all, JCYC, what does it stand for? It's Japanese Community Youth Council, because historically the agency started in Japantown here in San Francisco, providing servicing to the needs of the Japanese community. The agency has been here in existence over 50 years. Through the 50 years, it has grown into providing different services, which includes workforce, helping young people find jobs during the school year and the summer. We also have a preschool. We have 2 preschools, and we have a youth development program that incorporates a substance abuse program and also a lot of leadership type development services for high school students here in San Francisco. And then for us, for our TRIO programs, as indicated, we have 3 educational talent search. 2 of them serve San Francisco, and then our 3rd educational talent search, also known as ETS, serves 2 schools in Daly City. And then we have 2 upper bound programs serving schools in San Francisco. And then, as I indicated, we have a sister program that's funded by the state of California called San Francisco CalSOAP. That's a long acronym. I won't go into it. But altogether, all 6 college access programs serve over 3,000 students from 6th to 12th grade every year. And 2/3 of those students are from low income and first generation backgrounds. Daphnis, I don't know if you wanted to add anything.
Yeah, our target sites, we serve 4 middle schools and 7 high schools in San Francisco, and 1 high school and 1 middle school each in Daly City.
Oh, wow. And can you give us a little bit of background, like how long has the programs here at JCYC, how long have they existed?
So when I first came on board, I've been with JCYC in this role for about 30 years now. So it's been quite a long time.
Congratulations.
Thank you. When I first came on board, we had 2 TRIO programs. So as you can tell, it's evolved. We've tripled. We just celebrated, it's been about a little over since 1979. So I think that's about a little close to 35 years or so, or 40 years, that our programs have been in existence and continuing to serve low income and first generation students.
Amazing.
Yes.
For the audience who may not know about the threats currently facing the TRIO programs across the country, can you give us a brief recap?
Go ahead, Daphnis.
Yeah, so currently TRIO programs are facing very significant challenges. Mainly, our big concern is the current presidential administration is proposing major cuts to our funding, like federally, just completely zeroing out TRIO. At this time, many TRIO programs, including Educational Talent Search and Upward Bound, they saw their funding abruptly canceled or denied mid-cycle with claims of civil rights violations. And these sudden cuts have left many TRIO programs scrambling to provide services for thousands, if not millions, of low-income and first-generation students, especially because the school year had just started.
So it sounds like the presidential administration is insisting that, one, that TRIO is a relic and that the programs are no longer relevant, is what I've last read on one of their justifications, which is to say that they feel like it's over, college barriers don't exist anymore. But just because they say barriers don't exist to college access, does that make it true, or is it true?
Right. Yes. So because someone says barriers don't exist, it doesn't make it true. That kind of statement ignores the daily reality of that is faced by many of our students. They're, as indicated, first generation. Many are first in their family that will actually enroll in college. They also have challenges with the navigating through the financial aid process, which is the FAFSA, as many of us know it, and also the Cal grants here in California. We're very fortunate to have those grants available for our California students. And also, over the past few years, our schools here in San Francisco and also in Daly City have been struggling financially. So there have been cuts in different areas within their school district in terms of staffing for teachers, counselors. So they're understaffed, and there's also the last item is that many of our students do face language or cultural barriers. So it's again together a culmination of those challenges make it really difficult for our students. These challenges and obstacles haven't disappeared. They continue on every year. They become more complex. So our TRIO staff who are at the school sites on site working with the school counselors are able to see our students, every day, help them provide on-site real-time help and, being able to help the students navigate the college and financial aid system. So calling TRIO a relic is definitely inaccurate. And it's, again, dismissive of the lived experiences of many of the students the TRIO programs help.
Absolutely. Since the mid-1960s, TRIO has provided support to many TRIO students seeking a college education, so really college access. And that key term is right there, the access part. What are some barriers still facing students currently when it comes to access?
So there's 3 points that I want to highlight in terms of the barriers. One is there continues to be a lack of information and guidance. Because our students are first gen, their parents may have not had experience of having a college education here in the United States. And, many of them I indicated in terms of cultural barriers, they're not familiar again with the college application and financial aid system. And sometimes, the counselors at the school are overwhelmed. Many are busy just, with their day-to-day scheduling, dealing with parents and just other administrative tasks, that there's limited time for them to actually do college counseling with the high school students. Also, I've mentioned financial aid barriers. Just this year, finally, the FAFSA has been more simplified. And, I think it's less number of questions, the number of questions have been reduced. But again, it's overwhelming and sometimes it's overwhelming and it's complex. So sometimes parents are afraid to apply because of all the questions. And it is, it's asking about your finances, so it feels intrusive. And then the last is there are, again, systematic and cultural barriers. Many of our students are from immigrant families. Although the students themselves may speak fluent English, sometimes, again, their parents may have limited English speaking. And so the students have to be the one to translate to their parents about what's going on with their high school process, college application, and financial aid. So, it's not just, when discussing access, it's not just opening the door, but making sure that our students have tools and resources so that they can actually, go through the process. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And Daphnis, I think Daphnis really has a very true story of heart to tell.
Yeah, so I am a TRIO alumnus. I was a student support services participant at Beloit College's Student Excellence and Leadership Program, all 4 years of college, and that was from 2019 to 2023. I come from a really rough background, parents in addiction, divorce, all that stuff. So cell was really important to me, to have someone in my corner cheering me on, especially because I was so far away from home. And I was trying to deal with my toxic family. I managed to maintain close to a 3.9 by the time I graduated. I was dealing with the pandemic freshman, sophomore years, and I worked as an RA my junior and senior year. So I was pretty busy. And my student support service advisor did everything for me to help me, including helping me get tutoring, helping me apply for work study and like the RA position. And at one point, my advisor even like spoke to the dean of students on my behalf to make sure I could be like excused from class and make up work because I had a very serious personal emergency my senior year.
Wow. So, Daphnis, if you don't mind me asking, you feel like the TRIO program really provided a lot of intervention or a lot of even support to help you be in a successful path.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't have a lot of support from my family. It was a weird combination of like, it wasn't a question of if I was going to college, it was like, oh, you're going to college. But at the
Mhm.
same time, I feel like some of my family had like a lot of like unaddressed trauma that
Mhm.
made them very uh envious, I suppose, of like the things that I was doing in college.
Mhm.
So they would frequently, try to like tear me down like while I was in college. And
Yeah.
having like my trio family, like both like my advisors and then also like the other students in my cohort was really, really helpful in getting through that.
Well, if you don't mind me saying now, I would love to do a future episode of just you talking about your trio story. That would be magnificent. Would you be open to that?
Potentially, I just
Okay.
need to see my schedule.
Fantastic. I totally hear you. In the midst of this academic year, which feels already so heavy, everything is right, kind of going one right after the other. But if you don't mind me asking about some of the things that you faced about your experience in college, did you have a lot of the things that typical first generation college going students face in terms of like how am I going to pay for college? What are the things that I'm going to experience while I'm in the courses? And it is college an inviting space for me?
Absolutely. So, I was already a little bit familiar with how college worked because I went to Middle College High School in San Pablo on the Contra Costa Community College campus. So by the time I actually got to Beloit, I already had an associate's degree under my belt. And like I had been used to like how a college class operates. Um, but it was more of like the social and financial aspects for me because when you go to middle college you don't have to pay the tuition, you just have to pay like the $6 for like the activity fee or whatever. So it's definitely like how am I going to get the money,
Mm,
am I going to fit in with anybody because I Beloit is like it's very different obviously from the Bay Area. It was a PWI predominantly white institution, which I myself am white, but I didn't grow up in like a predominantly white area, so that was very different. And then also like a lot of the students are legacy students, which for those listening, a legacy student is basically like a family member went to the school before
mhm,
they did.
mhm.
So that was a little difficult. Especially with like some of them being like very well off. Like I had one classmate who like her family would give her like $1,000 a month allowance.
Wow.
Meanwhile, I was like eating ramen in my dorm room.
Yeah. I feel that. I absolutely feel that.
And
Um,
if well, I
yes,
could
we
just add,
absolutely go. Mhm.
I'm very thankful that Daphnis, as a TRIO alum, has also been so active in helping us here at JCYC with our advocacy efforts, such as in the case now where she connected us with you so that we can be on this podcast. We had an agency retreat and we did an advocacy presentation and she took the lead to present. And
Wow.
then she also created, is it zines, Daphnis, trio zines,
Yeah, I
those
made
photo
little like pocket zines where you like
pocket
fold
zine,
up
yeah.
the 8 by 11 piece of
Oh, nice.
paper.
Awesome.
Yes. So he definitely has been a lead to help us in our advocacy records, and I'm very thankful that he's on our team. Yes.
Absolutely. So for you two, our listeners range from participants, alumni, staff, and advocates. We have listeners from one side of the coast to the other. It's fair to say that they are well informed about TRIO, but they may be not very familiar with advocacy efforts. We also have listeners who are passionate supporters who know a little bit about TRIO, but want to maybe may feel like their advocacy is not in their wheelhouse. How can both populations begin to join the fight for TRIO programs?
All right. If you're new to advocacy, the good news is that the barrier to entry is very, very low. And here's how the listeners of the pod can help us out. So you can contact your federally elected officials in Washington, D.C., aka your representative, like your district representative and your senator, and ask them to protect federal TRIO funding, ensuring that low-income and first-generation students have access to the resources they need. If you're a TRIO alumni like me, you could contact your elected officials and share your story on how TRIO has made an impact on your life. And you can follow and post on our social media platforms to show the success of TRIO and the critical need to preserve these programs. We have an Instagram, a TikTok, a LinkedIn, and a Facebook, and all of those pages are Protect TRIO Now.
Juan, I sent the links on the chat.
Wonderful. I will include it in the podcast description. So for our listeners, look for the podcast description. We will have the Protect TRIO Now for the account for Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, and Facebook.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, y'all, can you share some of the strategies you are currently engaging to advocate for TRIO programs?
So the current strategies we've been active, of course. So fortunately, in San Francisco, in terms of our congressional leaders, our congressional leaders is represented by Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi, who covers the 11th district here in San Francisco. And then, as I mentioned, we also serve Daly City, so that is represented by Congressman Kevin Mullen. We have met with their staff, their educational staff, and in DC, as well as locally here in San Francisco and Daly City. And we gave them an overview of what the current challenges under this administration. And we're very fortunate that we have their full support. I have been corresponding with their local staff here, asking questions or asking them, hey, can you please follow up? What is the status of this bill? Or please ensure that we do have the support of these two congressional leaders for our TRIO funding. And we've been very successful. They have communicated and they always indicate that we have the support of both congressional leaders. So we're very fortunate in that case. We've had 2 articles about the current issue facing the challenges of the TRIO program in the San Francisco Chronicle, where one of the articles did highlight one of our senior students who graduated from high school and then will be attending San Jose State with a full scholarship, right? And just awesome. Also, learning about her challenges growing up and, what she needed to do in terms of being able to, get a full ride at San Jose State. Recently, we've formed our own college access, JCYC College Access Call to Action Committee, where we have led a letter writing campaign and asked other members of the JCYC staff from other departments to help us submit letters to our congressional leaders. As Daphnis has indicated, we've launched this ongoing social media and on Instagram, which is one of the sites we've been very active along with LinkedIn. We've been sharing outreach materials, TRIO buttons with our school and community partners as well, just really trying to increase outreach and access and awareness of this information. And then we recently, like in the last month, called out to our TRIO sisters or brothers and sisters who are in San Francisco, who are where the fiscal agent is another college such as University of San Francisco, City College of San Francisco, as well as UCSF. They also have TRIO programs. We all met. It was a meet and greet, gave each other an overview of our programs, and then in terms of next steps, being able to collaborate and what can we do together to fight and advocate. And then the last thing is our development department was able to create these TRIO infographics, And it might sound like a reach when it was first presented to me that we wanted to share the TRIO infographics with other TRIO programs outside of California because we feel confident California is pretty much going. Many of the congressional leaders of California will support TRIO. The key leaders to message the funding to get our support are many of them are key Republicans. Most of the Democrats are in favor of support for TRIO funding. So we were trying to target the key Republican leaders who may sway to vote for TRIO funding in other states. So it's been a reach. We've sent out emails, hey, we're TRIO program SF. Here are some resources we have. Please feel free to use them. We've gotten some correspondence, but limited. And we will continue to do that. But just now, the whole focus of the government is on the shutdown. So we've kind of put a pause on that. Yeah.
But Em, I love that you're emphasizing the fact that there's strength in numbers, connecting with other TRIO programs, making sure that the voices are amplified and that everybody continues to put pressure on their congressional representatives. I don't want to say pressure, but maybe more encouragement from their congressional representatives to, yes. And TRIO has always enjoyed this bipartisan support. It has never really been a Democrat or Republican issue. It has always been we want to see students go to college.
I thank you for bringing that up. That is the key of for how our TRIO programs have continued to be funded over the past 60 years. TRIO programs have been in existence over 60 years. We're very fortunate. I truly believe we're very fortunate. We do have a advocacy body in Washington, D.C. It is called the Council for Opportunity and Education, also known as COE. And, they have helped us navigate funding and budget crisis. As I indicated, since I've been in my tenure in this position, I've gone through this, funding for TRIO being cut or eliminate, been proposed to be cut or eliminated at least 3 times. And yes, because of the bipartisan support, we have survived. But this time around, it is really different. It's definitely more challenging, given that we have a president who is basically just kind of doing what they want. And it's made it definitely, yes, and it's very unprecedented. But because of the bipartisan support, there's also a TRIO caucus. So it's a caucus of Republican and Democratic senators and congressmen who have given us that support. So yes, definitely we have survived because of the bipartisan issue. Yes.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for answering that question. Daphnis, you also have an Instagram program dedicated to protecting TRIO programs. You've made it the theme. It's run, I'm assuming it's run partially by you, or you supervise what goes into that Instagram. Can you talk more about this page and what its intent is?
Yeah, so I'm on our little social media committee. I'm not producing tons and tons of content for it right now. That's mostly other people on the committee. But our intent is to help spread the word about not only what our TRIO programs do, but what other programs are doing for their students. We also share like those infographics that Em was talking about. And we share information about how people can advocate for TRIO. We have some profiles of famous alumni, and we also have short reels or videos about TRIO, and sometimes they're serious, like elevator pitches about the risks to TRIO, and other times they're a little bit playful, like using like the hot and trendy sound bites and making it about TRIO. You gotta do that. Gotta keep engaged with the kids. What is it now? Skibbity toilet 6-7. I don't know.
You gotta keep it engaging and fun.
Definitely, short.
Absolutely, yes. It feels like the videos have to be a minute long, or even less than that sometimes.
Or even less than, yes.
I think it's great to focus our efforts with everyone who has a stake in TRIO's future. I think you all are doing a great job.
Yes, and definitely the podcast, we are trying to access every avenue to be heard, and again, promote outreach and education to the community at large about what's happening, because you're right, given your question earlier, some people don't know TRIO, and actually the word TRIO, the way the TRIO program started, it did start with 3 programs, but now there's like
Yeah.
8 different programs. But the TRIO tag name has been kept because it's much easier to remember by individuals. But yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, advocacy for TRIO's future is definitely very important. I couldn't imagine what my college experience would have been without TRIO, and that's if I would have even gotten past like my first semester without TRIO. So it must be preserved for those who are going to be attending college in the future. You know, like I'm at a middle school, like I see these kids, they're going places, but they're going to need a hand up.
Absolutely. So, as of this recording, on October 9th, 2025, the government is still shut down. Can folks still reach out to their congressional representatives while the government shutdown is happening?
No, that's a good question. So at this time, I mean, I would say to put a pause on actually reaching out to your congressional representatives and showing their support for TRIO funding. What is happening at this time, as I mentioned before, the our national body in Washington, D.C.'s Council of Opportunity and Education is focused now on. So as of October the 3rd, the COE has announced a lawsuit because a lawsuit given the Department of Education's actions to cancel mid-year grants. And they were just told, your program, even though you had went for most, for example, educational talent search programs are on a 5-year grant cycle.
Yeah,
Their
typically,
last
right?
year, yes, their last this is the 5th year. We're entering our 5th year, which started September 1st and ends August 31st, 2026. But a number of grants, I believe it's close to ATS and all the other TRIO programs that have received the cancellation. One factor we have learned that had led to their cancellation mid-year was that in their grant, they had written that they were attending, for example, a DEI training.
Mm.
And, other TRIO programs are hosted by a college. So at the time at that time also where the grant was written, it was all about DEI because it was also under a different presidential administration. And DEI was very much focused. And now under this administration, as I'm sure you're aware, there are all these attempts to eliminate any type of DEI practices. So for these grants that had indicated that the staff had attended a DEI training and something similar, those were learning that those grants were those TRIO programs were the ones who received the cancellation notice. And many of them have been canceled as of September 31st, 2025.
That is, yeah, that is super
Yeah.
unfortunate.
Very. And so COE at this time is very active in, they sent us an email indicating that they're filing a lawsuit on behalf of these canceled TRIO programs. I believe there's a little bit over close to maybe 200. I might be wrong, but it's definitely, in the at least over 100 that have been canceled. Some may be fortunate that their institution will say, you know what, we're going to continue to provide financial support for you and your staff so you can continue serving your students till the end of the year. So they would have, a nice type of transition plan, a transition out plan. But for many other programs, that is not the case. And their institution may just say, we don't have enough money to give you support. So unfortunately, yes, the end of September was their last day. One of our TRIO sister programs actually, unfortunately, that happened to their educational talent search program. So what they did is they actually reached out to us and said, we share one of the high schools here in San Francisco. And they said, hey, can you help us make sure that you can continue to serve the students that we were serving? And of course, that's what we're going to do. So yes.
Absolutely. I think the difficult part was seeing these notices from the Upward Bound programs, talent search programs, and various TRIO programs post on their social media or even send out notices to their institutions that they had to close because of these administrative guidelines.
Yes.
Is it possible to restore these programs at all?
So, we're hoping So let me just backtrack. So actually, in terms of just data and numbers, there's been more than 100 TRIO grants that have been canceled or closed, which has resulted in the loss of approximately 40 million in funding, and that means disruption of services for over 40,000 TRIO students across the country. So that's pretty devastating. In terms of the being reinstated, we're hoping that these lawsuits might lead to that. Of course, it's a matter of time. And, depending again with the government shutdown and just trying to learn, who is still essential federal positions that are essential and working, we don't know what's going to happen. But definitely the government shutdown is impacting that. But just reiterate, we're hopeful that with these lawsuits that yes, they can be reinstated. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and that's especially true. Considering that the reasons why the grants were canceled were due to policies that weren't implemented through traditional channels, and there was no opportunity for grantees to adjust their programming to comply with the new policies.
Absolutely. That is important. That's an important note to take right there. Absolutely. All right. Well, you all, thank you both so much for being, to the staff of JCYC, to the TRIO programs, Daphnis and Em, thank you for being on the podcast to talk about advocacy, what folks can do to promote and continue supporting the TRIO programs. We appreciate you both so much.
Yes, thank you, Juan, for having us. And we just ask, and please share our social media links. That is definitely at this time a key action item that many of our individuals in the community can help us. And then you wanted to say, Daphnis?
Yeah, thank you. This is really important stuff for me. So it's been really cool to share what TRIO means to us and our kids, our students that we work with every day.
And our tagline has been, right now our motto has been that TRIO works. So yes.
Absolutely. So we typically end our episodes with a sign off. Traditionally, folks like to share a little anecdote, a story, a quote, or something that's personal to them. Would you like to do a sign off for this podcast?
I think my sign off would be, like I just said, TRIO works, and that's short and sweet, and hopefully that will be easy for everyone to remember. Oh, and Perfect. Please visit our Protect TRIO Now on Instagram.
Yeah, definitely. TRIO works. And just remember that there's a lot of students out here that are counting on our advocacy. They're counting on us to help make sure that their futures have the same access to resources that we had back when we were in college.
Are you a participant, alum, or staff of a TRIO program? Do you want your program highlighted? You or your program could be featured in an upcoming episode of Let's Talk TRIO. Get a hold of us by going to our Facebook page or Instagram and send us a direct message. Search for Let's Talk TRIO. We want to get your story to the public.
You just heard from our guests, the staff from the JCYC TRIO programs, Emalyn Lapus and Daphnis Schmidt. Thank you both so much for being on the podcast and for sharing your TRIO updates. Remember, if you would like to be on the Let's Talk TRIO podcast or know a staff, advocate, participant, or alumni, send us an email at letstalktrio@gmail.com. That email again is letstalktrio@gmail.com. A heartfelt thanks to our individual supporters, Angelica Villalpando, Dr. Jamie Motley, Dr. Ryan Barone, Dr. Jeff Nepute, Angelica Valdez, Rosario Riley, Felicia Rivera, Eric Lamaster, Jeff Calden, and Jaded Electronics. Thank you to our corporate sponsors, TrioJoblist.com, Nosotros Education Center, Longsdale Publishing, Student Access, and the TRIO Store.com, powered by Proforma. Visit www.thetriostore.com, your source for TRIO graduation stoles. Thank you all so much for your continued support of this podcast. You too can sponsor the Let's Talk Trio podcast in one of three ways. Become a monthly patron on Patreon. Our base level starts at $1 a month. Become a corporate sponsor by placing an ad on the podcast. Contact us for details. Become a supporter with a one-time donation to the podcast business PayPal account. Our business handle is at Let's Talk Trio. I'd like to take a moment to thank our honorary members of the Let's Talk Trio podcast, Roderick Chambers, Tony Ho, Scott Kendall, and Susan Cramp. The Let's Talk Trio podcast team is John Russell, audio engineer, music producer and composer, and post-production editor. Amelia Castañeda, script supervisor, marketing manager, social media manager, and producer. Juan Rivas, executive producer and host. Be sure to follow the Let's Talk Trio podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. This episode was recorded Thursday, October 9th, 2025. Thank you all so much for listening, and we will catch you on the next episode.